Special agents, I have figured it out. I have figured out for me what that missing piece of magic is for the current state of the veteran service organizations in this country. Let's get to it. See if you agree after the intro.
This is your daily dose of Veterans Intel. This is all about the military and veterans community. Hey, we're talking about news you could use. Tune in, you're not going to want to miss this. I'm not doing this for ego. I have plenty of ego. I'm doing this to help people live their best veteran life.
Inspiration. That's what's missing for me. It's that inspiration of wanting the organization to be bigger and bolder and to attract people instead of us having to recruit people. Have something for them to fight for. Have something for them to want to join, to succeed, to get done together. Inspiration is the missing magic piece, in my opinion. What's yours? Okay, so I have been to quite a few Legion events, and when the setup for the Legion events and when media and communications is there, they set up these beautiful walls showcasing our history. And two of the most prominent things they like to show are, one, the formation of the Veterans Administration, as it was called then, and two, the GI Bill. Now let's look at these two things and see what's familiar and what's missing from today. Now, the Veterans Administration was made after World War I. Now, technically, it wasn't made until 1930, 12 years after World War I, but it was separate entities being put together by executive order of President Hoover. And one of those was the Veterans Bureau, which handled all of the benefits at that time, which started right at the end of World War I. Now, the GI Bill came after World War II. That was started in 1944. Congress passed what was called the Servicemen's Readjustment Act, which included the pieces that we now call the GI Bill. Now, those were times, and we are still talking about their solutions to the problems of those times. We had big ideas, we had bold ideas, and we had things that were hard to pass. Some of what I've heard in our current status quo is that we like to look at things that we think have a chance of passing. To me, that is not going to cut it. To me, we need to do something big, we need to do something inspirational, and we need to do something bold to stand out. Because if we have no mission, we have nothing for people to get inspired about. And if we don't have anything for people to get inspired about, our membership will fail. Understandably, I think. So what we have now is we have the claims fight. Now, is it important? Of course it is. But is it something we're going to be talking about 50, 100 years from now? I don't think so. So what we are focusing on right now is suicide prevention. Is it important? Abso-freaking-lutely it is important. It may be one of the most important things in the history of veterans in this country. But one, we were stuck in the awareness phase for far too long. We all knew for a very long time that this was a serious problem, and we were looking for solutions, not slogans. Secondly, what we're doing now is we're giving training, very short training, very brief training, very quick training on how to deal with deterring the final act. Now, if someone is about to commit suicide, we have failed them many times along the way. That's why I think suicide prevention is just a small piece of the much bigger problem that we also all acknowledge is huge in this country, and that is mental health. Now, to really dig into mental health, we cannot wait until someone is at the point where they just want to end it all, where they are just overwhelmed to the point of no return. We are tragically late at that point. So what I'm talking about is a full-on mental health first aid certification. Now, we did this back at my post when I was a new member. I found a professor, and then we found a grant, and we were able to get it done at no cost to the post. We had a full day of mental health first aid training from a college professor done at our post, and I think we had something like 20 people certified. And it was an entire day. It was from morning until late afternoon, and we stayed there and we got her done because it was important. And I think that that's the kind of thing that we need. We need to be able to know when to talk to people. We need to know how to talk to people, and we need to know how to recognize when things are just a little bit wrong, when things can still be corrected, when we can still refer them to resources to help them along the way, not when they get to that final tragic destination. And I also think that that's not enough. I also think that we have all of these veterans, heroes in their own right on the battleground. Now they're home, and they are everywhere in every state, every city, every neighborhood. We're there. Now, if we had mental health first aid training, and then we had physical first aid training, including CPR and AED. If you don't know what those are, that's the shh, just restart the heart. If we had all of that, and then some basic non-lethal self-defense, we can have people all over America ready to save lives. And I am not talking about a vigilante group. I am not talking about Neighborhood Watch. I'm talking about you living your life, but having those skills so that if something happens in your purview, you can intercede. You can go and help save someone's life. I would love to see veterans on the news for administering first aid and stopping the bleeding, helping somebody restore their breathing, helping someone just talk through what's going on and getting help for the mental health that they need. I would love to see that be the normalized story of veterans, as opposed to the normalized story of veterans right now is that we ignore them until it gets to be too much and they've already decided their fate, their desired fate, that is. And then we try to intervene and we try to stop that. I think we need to move in much, much sooner. And so, for me, we are still serving. We were here to protect the nation, and that's what we signed up for. Now what we need to do is be here to protect each and every citizen, including our fellow warriors. And we need to have the training to do it, and we need to create that mission and recruit our fellow veterans into that mission. Because now we're not looking at them as numbers that we need to get up. We need to look at them as needed allies in this fight. We needed them to help set up the Veterans Administration, and they joined, and we had big numbers of members then. We needed them to help us get the GI Bill passed, because it was difficult, it was hard, and it wasn't immediately popular. And we needed to get that passed because those impacted positively the lives of those who put their lives on the line for this country, and the country in turn eventually did what was right. Now it's our turn. It is our turn to create a mission. It needs to be big and it needs to be bold. And it needs to be something like this, in my mind. Something like this, it actually doesn't have a great cost. Because if what would it cost to get a massive training for anyone who wants it in all of these areas? It's something that's done every day at a reasonable cost. And then what is the benefit? What is the benefit of having hundreds of thousands of veterans able to save your life at any time wherever you may be? They will get there before first responders and sustain you long enough for the professionals to get there. And that, to me, my friends, that value is not even calculable. And I think it is something that we can pursue, and I think that it is something we should do, and I think it is something that is important for not just the veteran service organizations, but for the nation. Now, I've been told about membership, and I'm talking about membership now, but I'm only talking about membership because we need people in the fight. I have never been oh my gosh, the numbers are going down, we need to grow for the sake of growing and keeping the business side of VSOs afloat. I tend to think what is better for the veteran and what is better for the community. And in this case, we need something that is going to create the betterment of both the veteran and the community. And I think this is it. Now, I have a dear friend who we talk about membership sometimes, and she likes to tell me that we actually have the same market share value as we've had probably throughout the history of the organization. And that with a dwindling number of people who serve, because we don't have the draft, and so now it's less than 1% of the population serves, that we have to expect dwindling numbers of membership. I disagree. I disagree because we're only looking at one metric, the metric being market share percentage of those eligible veterans. What about just elevating that market share number and by increasing the raw number of veterans that we recruit because we have a mission that they identify with? That's what I'm saying. And it has to be inspired. Inspiration for a mission helps membership. It's simple made-up math. Anybody can figure it out. And I want special agents out there in your posts, in your chapters, in your districts, areas, divisions, departments, states, however you define the organizations in your organization, let's have those conversations. Let's start. We don't even have to do resolutions because we can do it on the local level. And we can become the example for whatever level is above that level. And then it keeps moving up and up. And before long, it's going to get noticeable because we are going to have somebody save somebody's life. And it is going to be newsworthy and people are going to have to pay attention. So the word of the day is inspiration, but in my way, I had to add many, many more words. But they all support the idea of having an inspired mission. And this is the best idea I can think of in our current circumstance. I wonder if people out there agree, or if people out there think that we have a bigger mission that is something that is super timely now, but also is going to be something that we talk about 50 to 100 years from now, like we talk about the creation of the Veterans Administration and the creation of the GI Bill. So that is all, Special Agents. I leave it to you and the think tank online, and also your action if you are so inspired.